Welcome to this podcast. With us today, we have Leena Dhankar Joshi. And today we are talking about, first of all, hearing from her, the student journey, which is starting from when they possibly have this dream to go and study in the university of their choice and possibly make a career and a life from it. And that long journey, if you could please help us take a brief sneak peek at what that journey and the main points of that are, and Modoante, which is this zeal-driven venture to maybe you are going to tell us what this is about, right? Let's get it from. So, where does Modoante come in this student journey, and what does it do?
Yeah, first of all, thanks for having me, Vikram. It's also an interesting time because applications are in full form, I think. When we think of students and the opportunities available these days, I know that a lot of people talk in terms of, oh, students these days are so lucky. There is so much information and there are so many options available to them, which is technically and factually true. Yes, there is a lot of information, and yes, there are a lot of options.
There is a flood of information.
Yes, both of these, the vast amount of information available and the innumerable options available, create their own sort of complexity when it comes to make a decision for the individual involved. And these are mostly, we are talking about young adults, right? So it's not like that they have been making these slightly complex decisions, and so they are like experts at it and they know how to just breeze through. So for them, it's a complex journey. That's what I feel. That first you have to go through multiple websites to try and find the information that you're looking for. During the course of looking for the information, you of course get thrown up more and more options. So suppose you think you started with 5, then definitely you will say, oh, this also looks interesting. That also looks interesting.
It burns through a lot of coffees and a lot of Red Bulls for some people.
Yes, absolutely.
And yet still it's confusing and.
Yes, so you end up with maybe 100 tab screen because you keep on opening, and information is not uniformly available. So suppose some university offers course information in quite a structured and consistent way. So all the courses over there you can see easily, but some other university in the same country for the same course may not offer that information. So then you are struggling to find points of comparison.
Absolutely, yes. I mean, I found myself in those positions in my day, but yes, I get what you're saying.
And thereafter then you have to layer in the fact of visas, application processes, going to a country, and then the soft factors like, will I like the wild? Will I meet my tribe? And let's not discount the importance of those, because you're going to live a life over there. It's not just 24/7 study. That the only thing that matters to you is the course and the university that you apply to. Then there are considerations, other considerations. Everybody has them, right? There are parental expectations. There are your own career expectations, your aspirations for yourself, what you feel you want to do with your life. Shall I study music? Shall I study machine learning? And both of them are exciting courses to study.
And everybody wants it. I think everybody's telling everybody to study artificial intelligence and nothing else because I don't know, it looks like an opportunity, and then there's a scare that maybe I'm going to get left out. But the heart may tell something different. I want to do this, but am I going to get a job after doing this? And am I going to get a job in that country? Possibly, after doing that. So, a lot of things.
So and of course you cannot address, as a platform, we cannot address every single issue that, are part of people's considerations. But those two aspects of looking for information and trying to evaluate your options, those are the two pain points that we are trying to address with Modoante. So this is what has driven us to say, okay, we're going to put it all together in one place. Take a region that we have some conviction in and put all the information that we can think of which is relevant for students to make a decision in one place. So whether it's the universities, it's the courses, it's the how you can read articles on how to apply for courses. You can read articles on how to apply for the visa process. You can also read articles about what is the culture and the geography and the climate of the country. So you have a better understanding. If you hate the cold, then maybe it's not such a good idea to go to a very cold country. If you love nature, then it is a very good idea to go to a country which has a lot of nature. So it's the decision involves many factors. So we have tried to at least introduce in one place all the points of information that you need to make a decision. Of course, the decision is still yours and you still need to go through the pain of making the decision. But at least that aspect of handling, going through various multiple websites to be able to find authentic, verified information, that we have tried to address.
So Modoante is the one-stop shop for trustworthy information and the solution, nearly all of it, that the student is going to need on the student journey.
Yeah, I think so. I think most of it. Of course, you can never cover every single bit of information that anybody might. If somebody says, okay, where should I buy winter jackets in Sweden? Maybe that information is not available on the website. Yeah, though I think that may not be a bad thing for us to consider putting, because of course, you as a student, you're looking for budget options of things to do.
Modoante, the word seems like an enigma. Do unwrap it for us. Meaning, what does this stand for? What's behind this? These set of ideas, values, and what does this mean? Modoante.
No, so growing up, I was quite fascinated by Roman and Greek civilizations and history. So when it came for time to choose a name for my company, then I was very clear that I wanted something in Latin or Roman or something like that. And I was lucky that I could identify. Sometimes you see a phrase or you read a phrase and you feel, okay, this is the right one for me. There is no logic for it or why that is the right one. But when I saw the way ahead and it translated into Modoante, so I thought that it fit quite nicely with what I wanted to do.
That sounds really beautiful. And on the website, I've been going through the website, and on the website, I found certain features. And do tell us that in terms of values of this way ahead, what does this mean? So when somebody comes to like Modoante, what do they know for sure that they're going to get in terms of the values that we uphold here as
So I think it's really important when you're dealing with lives. This is a life, right? We're telling somebody go build a life for a year or 2 years or 3 years, however many years that they end up doing. We're telling somebody go build a life in another place. So I think it's very, very important to be authentic and truthful about what it will mean to actually build a life over there. So for me, that's very important. That it be trustworthy, the information be authentic. We are not trying to sell the Nordics. The Nordics don't need to sell them. All we are doing is we are presenting them as an option. And for the right student, for the right professional, they will be the right country.
And in Sweden, it's different. Like living in a country, just visiting on the fly, it gives you such a different experience. From what I know, Modoante has started with this focus on the Nordics, and why so? Do tell, why so?
Well, for me, it's quite simple. It's the region that I know and I understand. And again, to come back to that whole value of providing authentic, trustworthy information, because of my years over there, because of my years of working with colleagues in our counterparts in parallel positions in those other countries, I have an understanding of the thinking and the ethos of that region. And of course, during the course of development of the platform, I've now lost count of the number of people who said to me, "You're crazy, why don't you add Europe? Why don't you at least add Western Europe? Why don't you at least add this or that?" But I did not want to do that because the conviction that I have in the region, and again, like it comes to bringing two dearly appreciated parts together, which is target audience and the region together. So far my conviction is in the Nordic. Going forward, if it grows into something else, so be it. But I'd like to focus on that for the moment.
And Sweden and Norway and Denmark and Finland and Iceland, these countries have have such a good quality of life to offer that one tends to appreciate, I think, more a little when they get maybe a little mature, right? Earlier, a lot of drivers that people have in their lives, which are personal drivers, but the quality of life and how systems are so great, smooth. I think person gets to appreciate
Sure,
drivers
of course. And you appreciate different things. Your drivers when in your 20s are different from your drivers when you're 30, are different from your drivers in your later in age. But of course, some things are constant. And the Nordics are, of course, individual countries and they have their own individual differences. So between the 5 countries, of course, they have differences. But they're also alike in many ways, which is like, say, the Nordic welfare model or the clean air and water or gender equality. If those things are important for you, even your ability to express yourself for who you are, so these countries somehow lead on those fronts. They're very, very progressive.
Just this one more question I have, which is, I think, all of us, today have the chatbots. We've got ChatGPT, we've got, Perplexity, and whatever else we're using. And ChatGPT has become a personal therapist and our personal friend, and it's become, the first thing or person or AI, whatever it is that we go to, like for whatever we have, and definitely doubt solving and exploration questions. So today, one of the easiest thing, and a lot of people what they're already doing, is that whatever question they have in their mind, maybe about education and how to find a career and where to go, they will type in the chatbot. And so everybody does already have that AI friend, I think. I mean, a lot of people have it. And how is Modoante different? Because you can type on in a prompt and the questions that we have about search, and what makes coming to Modoante different from just asking the same question about your studying journey on the chatbot?
Yeah. No, of course, and it's a reality, and maybe it's not a bad option to start. There's no. I personally have not used ChatGPT as a therapist. Maybe I should try. But
maybe you wouldn't have all the
no, I'm just joking. But I'm saying I didn't even know that that possibility exists. It's interesting to know that. But of course, there's no harm in starting. If it feels convenient, then of course you should start like that. Also, let's try to remember that when students are making this decision, they have a lot of other stuff going on, right? It's not that somebody is sitting in some resort in some island or on the beach and has nothing to do for, like months on end, and then they are at will to, do the evaluation, go through lots of research and make the decision. Usually, if you are already studying, for example, you are making this decision along with your studies and all the constraints that come with it, right? Which is you have exams, you have a thesis, you have group work, you have X, Y, Z. If you are a working professional who is now looking to evaluate a master's, then you're doing it along with a full-time job. So of course there are constraints and you must look for ways to make it easy. It's not a bad way to start, but how that information is getting picked and collated and thrown to you, that depends on your risk-taking ability, right? And how much you can swear by the authenticity or the trustworthiness of it, because AI, as we know, also hallucinates.
Oh yes, I mean, a lot, yeah.
Yeah, and then it will throw up stuff for you, which you maybe can give you a good overview, but maybe not give you enough detail.
Yes.
Because most decisions require some detail. This is a big decision for most people's life, right? It's a fair amount of time, fair amount of money, fair amount of commitment of resources on everybody's part. So you have to make this decision in a slightly sensible way, which means you have to do more than the bare minimum amount of, sort of surface research. And for that, you have to read. There is no there's no substitute. You have to read a little bit. You have to imbibe it. You have to then reflect on it. Then you have to come back and read again to see that you understood it correctly. And then over a period of time, then you say, okay, I think I'm getting the right vibe.
And one of the things is, chatbot tends to agree with me so much. I mean, as I say, it's not a good idea to go to Sweden, and chatbot is going to say, oh, I feel you. We're vibing together. And I'm going to say, oh, no, I really want to go there. And chatbot is going to say, oh, no, we love this. Yeah, this is exactly what you should do. Right? So what I'm saying is that often right, are the answers that our AI friend is giving us are only as good as the questions that we're asking. And sometimes I think we don't know with such a big decision all the factors that are going to matter, right? I mean, have I counted to ask the city and the culture and the cost, and when we're going to find a good work visa at the end of it after the study visa ends, and how that is going to vary across the countries. So, I mean, have students considered all the questions, and were the questions intelligently asked, because the answers will be going to be as good as the questions we asked, right?
Of course, and it's normal if you don't know to ask the questions. How can anyone know to ask all the questions?
All the questions. We miss something.
Yeah,
so
of course you will miss. You may ask it for one university. You forgot to ask it for another university. You may ask something for some country, but then you forgot to ask. Then, of course, you have to remember everything everyone said and try to place it all in either in a document or in an Excel sheet or in something, in some way to say, okay, this is what I read somewhere else. Because the part of the journey of doing all this evaluation and going through all this information is also trying to retain, right? And retain as the key points from each of them. All of that research, and to hold it so that you can go back to it and you say, okay, which window did I open that in? So I think of course, I don't dismiss AI. I think it's not bad to give you a summary, but you will be constrained. It is not fair to you and your decision to make it solely based on that. Do yourself the favor. So read a little bit.
Use AI, but then you would still need to get all of this information in an organized format, in an intelligible format, and you would need to know what have I missed, right? And you would need that from trustworthy sources, and then you would need it, complex information, organized, to help you for decision making in easy format. And that's not always in the chat format. It's not all that easy.
No, and no one sets out to make the wrong decision. I don't know anyone who says, okay, today I'm going to make the best wrong decision. Everyone wants to make the right decision, right? And then you do what you understand. You say, okay, maybe this is good enough for me. But maybe you need to add a little bit more. You definitely need to add in what some people, as a result of their experience or their understanding or their familiarity with that region, have decided that this is something, or have tried to put together for you. Maybe there is some layer and some grain in that which you will not know to look for.
We will eventually find out. We have had Leena Dhankar Joshi with us today for this beautiful knowledge sharing session and experience sharing session. And soon enough, we're going to follow up with another podcast if you are able to make the time for that. And we'll talk more about all the questions that matter to you, right? Well, see you then and there.